Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in, and please go to WBGR Gospel Network and share this link. It should be popping up any time now. It should be popping up. It's a little delay, but it should be popping up. But we thank and praise God for everyone tuning in and being here today with my special guest here. Right, awesome woman of God, awesome woman of God.
Yes.
And when I heard her story and her testimony, I was blown away, and I was like, I got to get her on my show. I have to get her on my show to tell this story
Yes,
of
thank
what
you.
God has done for her, what He's brought her from, the things that He's
Hmm.
brought her out of, and her experiences. And I know that it's going to be a blessing to you. I know it's going to open up some of the eyes of those that need to be opened up. Okay, y'all know how
Hmm.
I am, and Naja, as you know, this show is very we're very transparent.
Hmm.
So I want you to allow God to use you. Um, we are on WBGR Live, so please share the link. I see some of you coming in already. Please share the link on your pages. I want to make sure that we get this out. We put all this other stuff out, right?
I
All
know,
these,
right?
all this other mess going out, and we
This needs to
copying and
get out.
pasting it. So I want to make sure that this gets out so that we can feed the masses, so
Mhm.
they will know, they will understand, they will be without excuse, right?
Right,
Because
amen.
Judgment Day won't be no excuse. You can't say I didn't know. Yeah, okay,
Right,
you heard it
right,
live right here, live and in living color. Okay,
right.
all right. So
Amen.
she's my special guest. She is. I'm gonna call her a YouTube phenomenon because she's all over YouTube. She's got so many videos out there about her documenting her experiences and um, just spitting knowledge about the things that go on in the spirit realm and things that she's
Mhm.
experienced. And whenever you're in that particular mode, that spiritual warfare type mode, there's always going to be attacks. The enemy don't like that. He can't
Exactly.
stand that. Because you're a threat to the
Hmm.
kingdom. But
Exactly.
you gotta do what you gotta do, right? You
Yes,
gotta
you
do, you
do.
gotta
You
roll.
do.
So we're gonna ask if you would share um to your pages, share to your friends, share to your enemies' pages. Um, let everybody see what's going on. I'm gonna try to send this. Okay, got it. So my group pages. Ah, okay. There we go. I think we're good. All right. So I'm gonna turn her loose. Naja Alston. I'm going to turn her
Yes.
loose, and I want her to tell her story. I want her to start from the beginning of her story. I told her to take her time so that um, we can make sure that she gets everything out that God needs to come out and bless the people. And at the end, if you do have questions, we will give space if you do have any questions or anything like that. And also, if you can, Naja, if you want to, at the end, if you can provide a cash app so that those that were blessed can bless you.
Okay,
Amen.
sure.
We appreciate that. So I'm going to turn you loose.
Okay.
You go for it. All right.
All
And
right. Well, thank you, first of all, for inviting me because I already knew that the moment that God wanted me to put my testimony up on YouTube, that that was going to be the very first of many that I was going to have to tell this story. Because these things have become so prevalent and I've seen so many people get pulled in. Um, but a lot of times we don't realize that the reasons that some of us are getting pulled in right now to these things is because of doors that we may have opened years and years ago, or doors that even our family members may have opened that made it easier for them to come in and have access to us. Um, I would say, starting out, that um, I knew something was different about me. I knew that I had some type of calling because of the experiences that I've had. Um, I have been, and I shared this, been struck by lightning before. Um, an experience where my mother's house got struck by lightning, and because I was at the window, and I had my hands on the sink. The current went through the house and knocked me to the floor. This was in front of my children, which, completely it just blew them away. They were afraid of storms for years and years after that.
Wow.
Um, I also have experienced seeing an angel apparition that was hovering over my bed. All I could see was the wings, and it was transparent. I could see the lines in the wings. I could see that it was fluttering. And the minute that I had tried to get my husband at the time to see it, it faded away. So it was specifically for me.
Mm.
Um, as a teenager, I can say that or my whole life, pretty much, I have always been curious. And I think I've been curious because my family did used to. I've been watching horror movies ever since I was a little kid, and that's just an open door
Mm.
directly. So I would say by the time I was about 16, I was with a friend and we wanted to do a Ouija board. We went to the store and couldn't find one, so we made our own. We took a Monopoly board, flipped it over, wrote with a marker. Yeah, and just took a
Wow.
glass and turned it upside down and literally was talking, I mean, to a child, supposedly. And I remember the child leaving, kept going to goodbye, and then an apparition or something came and said that it was the devil. And the glass flew off of the board. And so, of course, we were terrified at that point. But this was, these are doors that I had already opened
Right.
as a teenager. Um, but many of us have, a lot of us will receive demonic situations or oppression that comes in either through doors that we open or through things that we've experienced.
Mm.
And because I've been a victim of domestic violence, that's also like an open door for demonic things to come in.
Wow.
So I've always been a Christian. My mother has always kept me in church. I never, denied Christ or anything like that. Never did I ever say that I was just didn't believe in the Bible. Never. But my mistake was I never opened my Bible. I never would sit
Mm.
down and read my Bible. And so that's a part of the reason why so many Christians are blind to the things of what's going on right now, because it speaks very heavily against these practices, but we don't know it because we have never read it. And so my story started in 2018, where, I mean, I've always looked at my horoscope. That was something I think everybody has always said, what's your sign? What is this? What is that? In order to use that as a way to determine how compatible two people are, or what your day is going to be like. And on this specific day, the enemy spoke to me. He literally spoke to my spirit and told me to go and look on YouTube to look at my horoscope instead of reading it to see if there was anyone speaking about it. This is when I became aware that horoscopes were created through tarot readings. And I never knew that there were full blown readers all over YouTube reading your horoscopes every single day or every month.
Wow.
And I immediately got hooked into that, to the point where I was looking at tarot readings on YouTube every single day. I would turn it on the minute I opened my eyes in the morning, and I would fall asleep to them at night. And so the enemy was speaking to my spirit through the entire day through these tarot readings. Um, I then began to experience certain things supernaturally. The enemy began to speak to me to try and encourage me to get my own, to learn how to read for myself. Um, I started experiencing seeing numbers, repetitive numbers, which I would look up everything on the internet. And everything you look up on the internet, if you're not relating it back to the Bible, it's going to be connected to these things that are related to divination and the occult. And a lot of people may not know what these things mean. So I want to first, before going too far, like tell you what they mean. Um, Divination. And that is the art of obtaining secret or illegitimate knowledge of the future by the occult through methods that are unsanctioned by God, whether it's astrology, tarot, contacting spirits, and powers of darkness. And people think that just because you're not doing it with an intent of being demonic or evil, that makes a difference. It does not make a difference.
Wow.
Um, Occultism basically means hidden. And why people of God would think that God would want to hide anything from us to go and try and seek it in order to, allow things to happen in our lives is how we end up getting pulled into this. So, and then of course, witchcraft, which is sorcery. Um, Basically, it's intercourse with the devil. That's what witchcraft is. And you're basically co-signing with whatever the devil wants. You're opening the door to him, and you can't control what you're letting in because you can't see it. You have no clue what you're opening the door to. So basically, I started at that time learning about all of the things attached to the occult, because one thing led to the next, to the next, to the next. Keep in mind, I started from horoscopes. Then I went into tarot. Then I started learning about moon cycles. Everyone in that circle also thinks that they're a star seed, which they start relating you to being connected to aliens.
Wow.
Um,
No, I can't hear you. Say something again.
no,
Okay, I hear
can
you
you hear
now.
me?
Yep,
Okay, I'm sorry, I had a call that came through.
that's okay.
Um, so I basically started experiencing things like ringing in my ears. Well, first, before going into all of those things, the reason the Bible tells you um, to guard your heart is because a lot of times when you go through extreme hurt, that opens your heart and allows you to kind of accept certain things that the enemy will try and put into you, and then you get led into a rabbit hole, and that's what happened to me.
Wow.
I went through extreme hurt, and I just dived down even deeper.
Mm.
But once I opened those doors with the tarot, they started speaking to me. I started experiencing ringing in my ear, my right ear. No one knew what it was. Went and they thought I had tinnitus. It was not tinnitus. They were actually surprised at how well I could hear. Um, and I still have the ringing off and on, which lets me know I do still have some things that need to be kind of somewhat delivered.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the things I did, I opened the door to the enemy having access to my body. So when the ringing in the ear is there, it lets me know that there are demonic oppression or there's demons around me. Um, I started, of course, like I said, seeing numbers, repetitive numbers, which you'll go look online and you'll see that it's related to angel numbers. Those angel numbers, or the meaning behind that, is also the meanings come from tarot. So it's just taking you around in circles. My foot would heat up. I would go to sleep and I would experience telepathic experiences where while I'm asleep, the spirit would literally talk to me in my head and tell me that I was going to be an energy healer. And I felt, okay, clearly, God, this is God, because why would the devil tell me I'm going to heal anybody?
Wow.
Um, so I go and look that up, and that was related to Reiki. There are a lot of people that are getting Reiki right now. That's why you hear a lot of people talking about, a person's energy and being on a certain frequency and all of that. When you raising your frequency and you doing
Ooh.
things related to your energy, all you're doing is you're allowing your body and the centers of your body to get to a frequency where the demonic can have access to you, can have more access to you.
That's the
So
word I was looking for. It
what?
wasn't the W, it was Reiki. That's what
Reiki.
yes. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So because I thought this was God, I just dove right into it. I
Wow.
immediately, and I didn't have to look for it. The devil literally sent someone who popped up in my feed. who I knew already, who was a Reiki practitioner, who sent me to the person who taught her. I immediately got certified in Reiki 1 and Reiki 2. Paid no attention to the fact that when I got certified, that this woman was doing a ritual over me.
Wow.
She was basically placing the Japanese demons, giving me access to the Japanese demons to perform false healing on people. And so, the same way we utilize the Holy Spirit, you're utilizing these Japanese demons, and you're opening up the centers of people's bodies. You're literally calling on a false spiritual team that's connected to familiar spirits and demons to perform false healing on people. And so, thankfully, I had not, brought on a whole lot of, I wasn't like practicing it like that on people, but I had done it on my children. I had done it on my parents. You know, nobody knew how it was that I didn't even have to touch you, but you could feel the heat coming from my hands. It was a supernatural experience, and literally it would put you to sleep. And you'd even have visions, or I may have a psychic vision about something related to you that I could even then tell you when you woke up. So people don't know what they are touching and what they're dealing with when they're doing this. Outside of that, I was just brought into the whole metaphysical world. I was making crystal bracelets. I was, advertising to people how these crystals are supposed to heal you. They're supposed to, and you charge them, they're supposed to bring a certain level of energy to you, keep certain things away from you. I was buying sage. All of these things are idolatry, all of it, because we are not supposed to utilize anything, any object, any physical object that you are using in order to connect it to the spirit world is idolatry. Nothing physical can be used to ward off something spiritual.
Come on now.
So I mean, we fight against principalities. We don't fight against flesh and blood. So how is a bundle of herbs going to keep or scare away demons? It just doesn't. All you're doing when you wave that sage around, you're literally sending a smoke signal to the demons that you're now in agreement with them and not in agreement with God. So that's why it's so dangerous. And people don't have any clue. They just think, oh, it's, what is it, but they don't know that you're giving them legal right to your household when you do that.
Wow.
So, and if I'm looking down, I'm just looking at the things that through the Reiki, I started experiencing psychic abilities, clairaudient, clairsentient abilities, which is being able to hear and hear certain things from spirits, or you can pretty much sense things from people, which they sometimes call empaths, which is also the devil. Psychics, of course, we all know psychics is something that we're not supposed to go to. And we wonder why psychics know certain things about us. It's because familiar spirits that know you is what the psychics are channeling. And the Bible speaks about familiar spirits. So, and I wrote that down too for those who don't know where that is. That is in 1 Samuel 28:7, where Saul summoned a witch. So, familiar spirits are real. They know about you because they are assigned to you in order to keep you derailed off God's path. That's why the psychic knows about your grandmother and whatever else that you didn't tell them. But that is also a portal. The minute that you come into agreement with something a psychic has told you, you have basically opened a portal where you have allowed the enemy inside your space. So basically, I went full force into all of these things. I even experienced, I could tell that the covering of God had come off of me the minute that I began to do these things. All of a sudden, I needed these external things to protect me. I needed or felt like I needed sage to protect me, or I felt like I needed crystals to protect me, because now real live witches could see me. It was literally like I became visible to them. I remember twice being out in public and two Spanish women saw me, two different locations, and they stopped in their tracks and immediately gave this piercing look, would not move. It's almost like if they would have broken their concentration looking at me, then they would have broken the ability to put the curse on me. And the curse is called the evil eye. And this curse goes centuries back. So if whatever spirits they're entangled with comes to them and tells them to attack you, because they see you're not covered by God, they can. That's the reason why when you're not, when you're covered by the blood of Jesus, you don't have these situations. But I actually got sick. I got sick, and then someone told me what had happened to me, and that I needed to pray or let a prayer, have it playing out loud to break it. And as I did this prayer, literally my ceiling fan began to literally swing and shake uncontrollably as I'm letting this prayer play. I mean, I've heard growling noises, all types of things. And so I was sharing my spiritual awakening and all of the things that I was dealing with, thinking it was God, on YouTube. And a young lady came and she began to harass my videos. She began to tell me that she went through the same thing, and that everything that I was experiencing that I thought was God was the devil. I was offended, and I was like, okay, God, clearly I'm not experiencing all of this stuff, and this isn't you. Like, there's no way.
Right.
I can't tell you how he told me. All I can tell you is that my spirit immediately knew that it was wrong. And the only thing I could think was, oh my God, what have I done? I had gotten all of these people to pretty much come in agreement with the things that I was doing, because I felt like it was my intent. Even though I was sitting there spreading out tarot cards, I was calling on Jesus, thinking that I could use whatever tool I wanted
Wow.
to communicate with him. Not knowing that pretty much what was communicating with me were demonic. I actually woke up and disturbed a spirit that was entering my body. I saw it leave my body. I felt it leave my body. I just saw a huge white cloud, like literally, like shoot out of me when I woke up, and my entire body was vibrating with this high level of energy. And that's why I'm telling you, the whole energy aspect that people talk about, the more you access and mess with the energy centers of your body, you're giving them access to be able to do this. um I began to throw everything out once I realized what was going on and that it wasn't of God. I ripped up all of my Reiki certifications. I threw out the crystals, all the tarot. I thought, okay, I was wrong, that was it. But that was when the worst experiences of my life began to happen. That is when um, they were not happy that I had abandoned what I was doing, because I was bringing other people into that world. They were extremely angry. Um, I began to get physically attacked by unseen forces. The things that you see in horror movies is exactly what was happening to me. I couldn't sleep for months. They wouldn't let me sleep. Um, I have been punched in my chest, the wind knocked out of me in the middle of my sleep. I've been tapped repeatedly on my head. My clothes have been pulled. Um, they literally will make you feel like they're trying to possess you. As soon as the sun would go down, an immediate amount of anxiety and fear would come over me. Um, I could feel them starting at my feet. That energy, that vibrating feeling, I could feel them starting at my feet. I would get cold and they would literally come up my body. My third eye started opening, which is also a part of your chakras. I wasn't trying to open my third eye, but because I was dabbling in these things, my third eye began to open, which is basically opening up your eyes to the spirit world. And as they would come over me, that part of my head would literally pulsate. I could see static figures. I could see shadows. I could see orbs. Um, and the things that I had to sleep with praise music playing 24 hours a day. I had to do communion every single day. I um, I had to these books here, Prayers That Rout Demons. I
Yeah.
used to have to read this entire book every night to try and keep them at bay. I also bought his Deliverance from Spiritual Warfare, the manual.
Mm.
These are things I had to do on a daily basis just to try and sleep. I had to sleep with Psalms 91 playing every night. Um, there was times where I gotten into an argument with someone, and anger is another open door. I had, in the middle of this, gotten into an argument with someone, became angry and enraged. As I went to sleep, I had my TV playing, had a lamp on, woke up into pitch dark. The lamp was off, the TV was off, and I immediately sensed that something was in the room. Um, I turned everything back on. I grabbed the cross that was around my neck, and I just began to try and fall off asleep again. Immediately, as I dozed off, a demonic witch, I could see, I couldn't see her face, but I just saw her hair sway in front of my face, with my eyes closed. She began to dig her nails into my hand that was holding the cross. I literally could feel her nails digging in my hands. The only thing that made it release me was me in my head screaming the name of Jesus. I had to do it at least 8 times
Mm.
before it released me. I immediately got up, turned the light on, grabbed my Bible, immediately started praying, singing praises, and I could see it at my door. It was like a static figure that was at my door. It wouldn't leave, but immediately when it saw that I wasn't going to stop, I literally would have to wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning from this, and it would not leave until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So for hours, I was praying and singing, trying to get it to leave. It got tired because of the things I was doing, and it literally balled up into a ball of light and flew past me out of my room. And as it passed me, my entire body just like the fear, like when you hear someone say the spirit of fear,
Mm.
it is an actual spirit.
Mm.
So my entire body, the fear that I felt from that, my body shook uncontrollably. It
Mm.
when I tell you this is something that the thought that if I had died when I was in the middle of this and these things would have had access to me and there was no coming back from it, like that's why I owe my entire life to God from this point. However he wants to use me, that's what I'm going to do
Come
because
on.
there's no way, there's no way I could imagine that this would have access to me. So I went through this for months, for months, for
Wow.
months, for months. I could not sleep for about 4 months because they wouldn't allow me to. So that pretty much kind of sums up, most of the story. From that, ever since then, I have been now experiencing, since I got delivered, I've now been experiencing prophetic things from God. So in my study time, I get prophetic word from Him. I have prophetic dreams, I have prophetic visions. And so they came after me and they sought after me because they knew that this was what I was supposed to be
Mm.
doing.
Come on.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
So,
Wow.
yeah,
That was kind of going to be a question for me. When did you, at a younger age, did you realize you were prophetic in nature?
I didn't.
You didn't.
No, no,
No idea. Wow.
no. I had no idea.
Wow.
None whatsoever.
So you talked about those things, because now a lot. I mean, when I say a lot of Christians
Mm-hmm.
are doing these things, and I've been
Mm-hmm.
in gotten arguments, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about with some pastors who
Mm-hmm.
don't see anything wrong with burning sage, and some of them it says,
Mm-hmm.
"I've been burning sage since we were little," you know, and
Yeah.
these are pastors, people in their horoscopes and what your
Mm-mm.
sign, all these things, and they see nothing wrong with it whatsoever, not
Yeah.
realizing that it is a door,
Yeah.
that's open. Did you have any experiences with yoga or anything like that?
I didn't have experiences with yoga, but I
Mm,
can tell you that yoga is as well demonic.
mm,
The posing that you're doing with yoga is you're basically summoning or channeling those gods. Um, and people have no clue that they just look at it because it's being used as a holistic. Whenever I hear the word holistic, be
mm.
very careful because
Wow.
anything holistic is usually attached to the same practices.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, that's just a kind of like, again, a false light term
Mm.
that's put over something to make you think that, oh, because it's supposed to be holistic, that it's healthy and it's good for you, and it's not.
Right.
Sound bowls, all of those things are, you're communicating with the spirit world.
So you mean, okay? Because where did I see the sound bowl at? Sound bowl. What's love got to do with it?
Yeah,
Because she
yeah,
had the little thing, she hit it
yeah,
and kind of go
yeah,
around it. Oh
yeah.
Lord, are you
Yeah,
serious?
they communicate with you through sounds, through all of those things. And um Wiccan, and that's the thing. When you look at the origin and the history behind the things that you're touching, then you will know that Wiccans and witches use them. So why would you want to use something that's used from witches and Wiccans and people that are literally practicing these things? And so, what I've noticed as well is that the amount and I wrote down these numbers so that you guys know how bad it's gotten
Wow.
with the witchcraft. Um, the numbers have been on the rise since the last 30 years. 1.5 million people practice today since 2019 witchcraft, which is a huge rise from the 8,000 in 1990.
Ooh.
And 340,000 in 2008. So more and more people are now, and that's why witchcraft is popular, because you can just go into an Urban Outfitters store at the mall and literally buy a starter kit with crystals and tarot and a bundle of sage. If those things are bundled together, why would you think that sage is okay? Why would you think that crystals are okay if it's bundled with tarot?
Right.
It just doesn't. I mean, if those things are in a metaphysical store with other dark and white magic things,
Mm.
why would it be okay for you to use if you're a Christian and you believe in Christ? It doesn't fit. It
Right.
doesn't fit.
Now, when you say white magic, is
Hmm.
is is that just magic that really seems like it's good?
Exactly. Yeah, there's
Okay.
black magic and white magic. And
Uh
white
huh.
magic is pretty much what most Christians are doing. They think that because they're not doing it for the purpose of harming someone,
Mm.
they're doing it in order to maybe stop something negative from happening, that makes it okay, but you're still utilizing the spirit world.
Right.
You're still accessing the spirit world to what you think is doing positive things, but you're still opening doors.
Right. Right. Wow.
Yeah.
And what
Yeah.
about while you were in this? Were you instructed to look at certain things on TV? Did you watch television and notice certain things while you were in this practice?
I didn't notice until after I got out of it.
Mm,
Once I got out of it, then I started recognizing how everything that we are being influenced by is attached to it.
mm,
your spiritual eyes become open to recognize just how you are being fed these things through the news, through TV shows. I mean, I can't tell you how many TV shows I recently watched where they literally have psychics or people doing tarot or burning sage, and they're feeding it to you to make you think that it's okay. They're teaching these things to our children. Um, there's witchcraft things in the video games and the
Mm,
cartoons
mm, mm.
that I never even, I mean, we never thought anything was wrong with Harry Potter, but he's literally teaching sorcery, you know? So, but as Christians, we literally feel like the minute you say demons, that's something that's so far fetched. But demons and demonic spirits are so real and influence so much of people's lives. You can't look at stuff like that and think, oh, that's, you're weird, or you're thinking too far into it.
Wow.
That's how we get oppressed so easily, because we're oblivious to how much impact it has on our life.
Wow. Wow. I
So
I and I told this to the church before. I remember going to fix up somebody's computer, and I walked in. I was getting ready to walk into the bedroom, and I just felt something in there. But I looked at the TV, and the movie Poltergeist was
mhm,
on, but I could feel just the presence in the room. And I backed down and I said, "Can you cut that TV off?" I said, "I
yeah,
can't go unless you cut that off." And I had to
yeah,
do what I do and hurry up and get out of there. And I just felt sick being in
yeah,
there. And like you said, a lot of people sometimes they're like, "Oh, y'all being too deep." Oh, it's
yeah,
not that deep, and they
mm-mm,
just don't realize um, how big the spirit realm is, and how, like you said, that was major what you said, how much of an influence that it
mhm,
has on our life, down to
right,
little things where you don't think it does.
right. Well, the
Because
spirit world is more real than the physical, and people don't know
yes.
that.
Mm, mm, mm,
It
mm.
is. It's first the spirit and then the physical.
That's good.
So
Wow.
yeah.
Because you said, what did you say? Uh, it'll come back to me. I'm getting old. You, you, man, what did you say? But yeah, but you talked about. Oh yeah, I know what to talk about. You talked about some of the open doors, but some of the emotional open doors. And two things
Mhm.
that you mentioned, I think, were very, very important. And one was anger. How you
Mhm.
open the door when through anger, and some people
Mhm.
have anger issues.
Mhm.
You know,
Anger and unforgiveness. Those
yes.
are two
Woo, oh
major
my God.
doors.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Yes. And like you said,
Yeah.
those are two major doors that we leave, that people leave open. And you also talked about that sadness, that loneliness when you get hurt,
Mhm. Mhm.
trauma,
Mhm.
traumatic experiences, different things
Mhm.
like that,
Mhm.
leaves open doors as well.
Right.
That's why it's important for us to be emotionally healthy,
Right.
um, so that we won't leave these doors open. Wow.
Right. And
You
people think that it's just, you have to touch divination or occult practices to let
right.
the demonic in.
Mm,
But there's several, I mean, that is the devil's, that's his plan, is to steal, kill, and destroy. You think he's just going to wait for you to open doors to the occult to try and access
right.
you?
Right.
No, he's going to access you through any way he possibly can.
Right.
But the reason we're talking about this is because people have no clue, that this is a door.
Right, right. It's a
Yeah,
door. It's a
yeah,
door. It's a major door. You mentioned
absolutely.
something that's really really big out here now, and I'm hearing it everywhere that I'm going, and it's irritating my soul. Right, and that is this energy word, energy,
Yeah.
energy, energy, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
hearing my feminine energy,
Mm-hmm. Masculine
masculine
energy.
energy, all these particular terms, everything, and I'm like energy. I'm like that's a demon, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That's not
Mm-hmm.
energy.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm. They
why
want you to
is
pay
that?
attention to that.
Huh?
They
Say it again.
want you to pay attention to
Yes.
the energy, because they want you to, um, if you're paying attention to the energy and you're trying to focus on bringing what you think is positive energy to yourself, you're doing certain things, like you said, to raise that frequency, raise your energy. But again, those things, it draws certain things to you. I don't
Mm.
even like to conversate with people who talk about energy.
Right.
It's because that's the language of new age people.
Mm.
That's a new age term. We don't Christians don't discuss frequencies and energy and universe and moon
Ooh,
cycles and all that. We That's not our language. That's a new age term.
you better preach this thing. But that's no, that is the truth. And
Yeah.
whenever I hear somebody talk about energy, universe, the
Mhm.
stars, all this, I'm talking about Christian folk. I'm like, bro, where are you
Mhm.
going with this?
Right, right.
And I've even heard Christians even talk about, ancestors. You know,
Yeah.
my ancestors,
That's
my
another big
ancestors.
one. That's
Yes.
another big one. The ancestral worship right now is what is also attached to the pagan practices that the Bible talks about.
Mm,
So, and this is a whole nother teaching, of course, but a lot of us don't know that a part of the reason why, you know, the Africans and our ancestors experienced such oppression and slavery was because of the practices we were doing, the witchcraft, the paganism, the following of false gods. That was extremely heavy, and that's why it speaks about pagan practices and following false gods throughout the Bible. And we were heavily doing it. But now all of us are feeling like we are neglecting our heritage unless we go back to
right.
our ancestral practices. And you are opening the door for divination and the occult. And
Wow.
it's just it's like a veil that's being put over their eyes by
Right.
thinking, because we have all of this racism that's going on now, that we need to get back to our roots,
Our roots.
when
Our
that's a
roots.
trick. That is a trick from the devil.
You are preaching up in here. This is the stuff that we're hearing, though, and so everybody's
Mhm.
becoming pro-black now,
Mhm.
pro this, and we need to get back to the things that our ancestors did. And one
Mhm.
one pastor, I remember him saying, our ancestors practiced these things, and I was like,
Right.
our
That don't make
ancestors
it right.
practice witchcraft. It don't make it
Exactly.
right. I don't care
Exactly.
how far you go back, they practice witchcraft back then.
Mhm.
They had other gods that they put before God. They did these things,
Exactly. Right.
so I don't care what they go with artifacts they dig up, and we find out our true history, and this is
Mhm.
who we supposed
Mhm.
to be and what we're supposed to be right here,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
they're grabbing hold of these things,
Even the celebrities that they're practicing,
oh my goodness, my God.
Yeah, and Beyonce is a big one. She does the ancestral worship to the Orishas, and she channels Oshun.
Tell it.
And if you do your research on Oshun, everything, that's why you always see Beyonce wearing yellow, because that was
Mm.
what that deity used to wear. And so we have no clue that in her music, she's literally channeling these spirits in your house while you listening to them.
Y'all better get this. Don't be getting
So,
mad at her either. Listen to
no,
what she
I'm just
got to
telling the
say.
truth. I'm
Whew.
just telling the truth.
Wait a minute. Did she just put a? She just. What was her last CD? It was called something.
Black is King.
Was it Black with the?
Is it the Black is King?
But she has something with all this yellow on.
Yeah,
Was
she wears yellow all the
all the
time.
time. Oh my God! And what
Yeah.
was the name of that? What was the name of that god again that you said that whatever you said?
Oshun.
Oh,
Oshun. She's an Orisha, which are African gods. Yeah.
is those the
Yeah.
same African gods that Paula White was calling? No, I'm not gonna mess with that. Hold on. I had a question, a couple of questions on here. Oh, that was because people chase after Beyonce. And I'm like, y'all
Mhm.
better wake up. I know
Mhm.
a church that rented a bus, two buses for their young people to go see Beyonce concert. They rented
Wow.
bus, and that like blew me away. I know of gospel
Yeah.
artists who took his kids to the Beyonce concert. And he said when
Wow.
he was there, there was all he could smell was weed. But I'm like, you are not only a gospel artist, you're a pastor. Why are you
Right.
even putting yourself in that type of environment? I don't
Exactly. Exactly.
understand. But
But see, the
especially,
church is so not aware of spiritual warfare.
oh my
So
God. And some
that's
of them
why.
don't want to be aware of it. They don't.
Mm-mm.
They want to have a form of godliness,
Right.
with no power, right?
Exactly.
So this is a question. It says, are you referring to consistent anger? She said, I remember the Bible says, be angry, but sin not. So when you talk about that open door with anger, is that when somebody's consistently angry?
I don't even think that you necessarily have to be consistent because I was never a consistently angry person.
Hmm.
So it wasn't until I experienced these things and I allowed myself to become angry in the midst of trying to be delivered that they came harder.
Mm,
The attacks came harder because it was like, okay, you trying to be delivered from having access, from us having access to you, but you're still letting us back in by keeping these doors open.
right.
So if I didn't forgive someone, or if I didn't,
Mm,
you know, change the way I reacted to people, then you're still allowing them to have access to you. So if you do, get super angry with someone that's not consistent, but you don't go to God and repent and ask for forgiveness and ask that that person forgives you, then that door is still open.
right.
So you
Okay.
still need to take acknowledgement in every situation that you allow yourself to get angry.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Because because it's when you carry it,
Right. Right.
and you leave that door open. Well, somebody
Right.
else asked a question. They said, being in the lifestyle, did you still get attacked, or did those demonic spirits embrace you? Or do you understand what they're saying?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
During the time that I was doing those practices, they embraced me. Because of course the devil knows that you're not going to just willingly come in if you're just being attacked from the door. So that's why they say that the devil disguises as light. So he was disguising as light in order to keep me from seeing what was really there. So
Mm,
yeah, as I was doing the tarot, it was making me feel like I was becoming a better person because it would point out my faults. It would tell me what I needed to fix. It would tell me I needed to apologize to someone. It will tell you those things. It
wow.
doesn't care because I'm still on the wrong side of the tracks. So
Wow.
that's why so many people think that these are their angels and that these are their spirit guides that are teaching them the right thing because it's correcting them. But in turn, the minute you turn your back on them, or the minute that you're not in agreement or do what they tell you to do, and when they're done with you, they will try to kill you. They will.
Jesus. That's like the
Yeah,
music industry.
it is.
Wow.
Yes,
That is
it is.
crazy. It
Yeah,
is the enemy is so deceptive. I
extremely
mean,
deceptive.
to give you a little bit to make you feel like you're actually doing the right thing,
Right.
and just to keep you,
Just to keep you.
you
The
know.
same thing with psychics. That's why they will, they may tell you a little bit of the truth, but it will be a
Right.
lie.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Girl.
Yeah.
Woo. It's another question somebody put on here, and they said, "Do you still see spirits?"
No, so after I went through the deliverance process and, reading these books and denouncing those practices, which didn't happen immediately, I was that third eye it closed.
Hmm.
So I don't still see them, but I can sometimes see what I think are maybe sometimes angels, depending
Okay.
on what area that I'm in. There are certain places that I might be, and I will see figures out of the side of my eye, but they
Wow.
don't give me that sense of it being demonic.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Wow. Since I know people that see spirits, but you actually see angels.
It's and it you may not be able to tell that it's an angel. It may be like a white, you know, figure that may be there and just not there. You know what I'm saying? Or you
Okay.
can see out of your peripheral.
Wow.
Um, yeah. So I've actually, it was a job that I recently worked at where I know that there was a witch that was there. She was a Christian, but she was a witch. Um, and in instances or environments like that, I can tell that there are spirits in there because of the people that are there.
Right.
So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow. Wow. Okay.
yeah.
Hold on. Okay, these questions are coming in. So somebody asked, I don't know if you're familiar with this or not. They said, you're familiar with anime?
Yes.
Okay, so they're asking, as a whole, is that okay to watch?
That I actually have to do a little bit more research on because even my teenage boys like looking at certain anime.
Hmm.
I can tell you that I have heard a lot about certain anime that does slip in certain things that
Okay.
are not suitable for children.
Mm,
So I don't want to fully answer that because I haven't really dived into that
right.
wholly.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Okay.
I would do more research on it if I was that person, whoever asked that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've heard some things about it. I haven't like you. I haven't dove into that, but
Hmm.
I've heard some things about it. But now that I see this question, I think I'm gonna dive into it too.
Right, right.
So, it's another question here, and they're asking, can you see demonic spirits in others?
Um, I can't see demonic spirits in other people. There are I can recognize when there is a spirit behind someone's behavior,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I God has shown me before. There's a time where I was praying in the spirit, and he showed me a vision of the spirits. He showed me a vision of spirits that were behind two people that I was currently dealing with at that moment. So it's
Hmm.
not something that I see at all the time, but he has shown me the spirit that's behind them. There was a spirit of jealousy behind someone where he literally showed that person reach their hand out to me and say that they wanted what I had, and their hand became like a glob and attached to mine.
Mm,
So he'll show me, stuff like that, or I may see a dark figure behind someone that's not there through a vision. But it's not all the time, but I have experienced that.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you that's another question here that I'm gonna ask before I go there. What did you consider yourself? Wait, did you felt like you were a Christian when you was in this practice?
No.
No, okay. So what were you? What was your title?
I was basically saying the same thing that so many people are saying now. I'm a spiritual, I'm not religious.
Jesus. I'm about to fall out this chair.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh look, I'm so sick of hearing
Yeah.
people say that. I'm
Yes.
not religious, I'm spiritual. I'm spiritual.
Exactly.
You
Whenever
still
you
ain't
hear
saved.
someone say that, yeah, whenever you hear someone say that, because I used to say that and I know what that means,
Wow.
that just means that you just basically want to adopt whatever practices you want to adopt and still live in your sin. That's what that means.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
I'm so
no.
glad. I'm so glad you said that. Somebody somebody asked the question. What are your thoughts on acupuncture?
Acupuncture can be somewhat related as well because some of the acupuncture, they will use crystals. Some of them use
Mm,
crystals through acupuncture. And again, that falls in the line of idolatry. So you
right.
have to be very careful with that's why, again, that falls under holistic health.
Okay. Right.
So
Right.
again, when you hear holistic health, you need to I mean, because you got to look at the things that these people practice.
Right.
Buddhism, they don't, because of what they practice, those things come from their beliefs.
Right.
So from their history. And yeah, so I would be very careful with that too.
Right. And it's funny you said it because we will adopt their practices
Hmm.
without even researching,
Without even researching the
yeah,
origin.
the
Yeah.
origin of it, where they come from, anything of that nature. Um, let's
Right.
let's dig into some other stuff. So, what about like piercings? The different people getting these piercings everywhere and all that type of stuff. Any experience with that?
Um, Personally, I don't think it necessarily may have anything to do with these practices,
Okay.
but
Okay.
of course, the Bible just tells you, as far as with your temple, to respect your temple and stuff like
Okay.
that. I had to go and get a tattoo in order to cover a tattoo that I had gotten while I was practicing these things.
Mm,
I didn't want to keep that that on my body and remember what that was. I had a lotus flower and another Buddhist attachment to that flower that it was attached to all of those beliefs, and I had it here, and so I went and had to put a rose over it in order to cover the tattoo.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Oh,
I won't be doing any more tattoos either.
right, right,
Yeah.
right, right. And people get mad at me when I talk about tattoos. I'm like,
Hmm.
I studied the history of it, and not from a biblical standpoint, from a natural standpoint, the people who want you to get a tattoo, they put the history of them out there. It has to do with
Right,
bloodletting and you're
right,
opening up doors. It's the
right,
same thing.
right. But when
But
things become popular, all it takes is for something to become popular and people jump on the bandwagon and they have no idea what it is
right.
they're doing. It's just that, oh, okay. I mean, I actually had a person that posted in their stories 2 days ago. A friend, well, he's not a friend. We went to school together. He had a sound bowl, a few bundles of sage, some incense. Even incense, you need to be careful with because incense are used in demonic witchcraft.
Mm, mm,
There are certain herbs that are on certain incense that are used for rituals and spells. And
mm,
so, he had it set up and I sent him a message like, dude, like what is this? What is going on here? And he replied and said, decoration. And I said, okay, you're decorating with witchcraft stuff now.
mm.
And he got offended and said, oh, we're good. We believe in God over here. But because he has no idea what those things are and what he's doing, he thinks just because he believes in God and he's not intentionally practicing witchcraft, that means that it's okay to have.
Right.
It makes no sense. It
Wow.
makes no sense.
Right. Wow. There's another question. Somebody said, how do you get a family member who isn't a part of the Christian faith to see their religion is false? Ah,
Um, a few people, because sometimes, family members, they won't really receive from you.
mm,
So a lot of times it's easier where I've sent my testimony video and allowed them to just share it, um, without them, talking too much and trying to make them feel as if they're being judged
mm,
rather than just informing them of what they're doing. And once you've given them access to the information and you pray that God reveals those things and takes the veil off of their eyes, that's pretty much the only thing you can do. You can't force them to drink just because you brought them. You know what I mean?
right, right.
It's
Yeah.
That's
Sometimes
all
you
you
can
can do.
you can make it worse by pushing and pushing and
Right,
pushing.
right,
Sometimes you have to pray and they have to see. Eventually,
right.
God's got to show them where they're in error at. You know. Um,
Yeah.
Same way I have to deal with people who are in the Black Israel Hebrewites
Mm-hmm.
and the Muslims and the
Mm-hmm.
atheists and all of them. You have to be strategic when you're speaking with them,
Exactly.
if you're talking to an atheist, I don't even use the Bible because they don't believe in it. So I
Right,
have to
right,
go to a different. I have to look at science. I have to look at the world and those particular things like that to get them to see certain things
right,
that you know what man teaches is just a theory. That's
right,
because they don't know the truth.
right,
So
right.
you have to be strategic when you're dealing with, especially with family members. And like you said, sometimes it's going to be somebody else
Mm-hmm.
that kind of brings them in.
Right. But one
Somebody,
thing people don't
go ahead. I'm
I'm sorry.
sorry.
One thing that people don't realize too is when you open doors like this, that if there is someone else that is practicing witchcraft or any form of sorcery, because there's people that are doing it that you don't have any clue that are doing it.
Mm,
You give them access for their spells and for their witchcraft rituals to work on you because you have opened yourself to it.
wow.
So if you wonder why you're getting sick or you wonder
Mm,
why certain things are not working in your life and you've
mm,
opened these doors, you don't even know that somebody is praying against you intentionally and
mm,
sending it to you.
mm.
So you got to be careful on both ends with the doors you're opening to the demonic, and the fact that you now are allowing yourself to be accessed by other people that don't like you and want to see you fail.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. This question, let me see. Somebody asking about that. I was asking all kinds of questions. It was massaging with oil. So I'm now, is this a question? I'm now thinking, depending on who's performing the massage, it could be unholy.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah. It's important to know the type of certifications and the type of things that the person that is massaging you that they have tapped into.
Mm,
Because I've gotten a massage from someone not too long ago who I immediately realized that she was a Reiki practitioner.
mm,
So while she was massaging me, she was also opening my centers, trying to.
mm.
So you have to know who you are letting touch you. Yeah. Even though you're not
Ooh,
going for that
right.
service. Yeah. Yeah.
My God, it's so important to be covered by the blood.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
You
because
know,
if you're covered by the blood, and you're somebody that is, you actually have a relationship with Christ, then even if that person is doing those things, it won't affect you. But you still
right.
need to be aware of what you're doing.
You got to be aware. That's why the
Yeah.
Bible says, what? Lay hands subtly on no man. And you got to
Mm-hmm.
watch who lay hands on you
Mm-hmm.
as well. I think I told the church the other day, I was in a Walmart one time and I ran into somebody and it was like, it's something about you. Because you talk about familiar spirits, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something about
Mm-hmm.
you, you're a man of God, aren't you? He said, I know you can see that, right? But then it's like, well, can I pray with you? I was like, no, I'm good.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm good. And then
Yeah.
when you start
Yeah.
insisting on it, and then when you start getting offended, like, well, you don't need my prayers, I'm good. you know.
Right.
So you got to be careful.
You
Um,
do. You do. And see,
so,
my pastor is Bishop Dale Bronner. He was just speaking about, going overseas
uh-huh.
and having people that try to put these bracelets that they've made on you, which are
Mm,
amulets, and you don't have
mm.
no clue what they have prayed over those amulets that they're trying to put on you. I've even gone to the Bahamas, and a woman tried to sell me a little doll that she had made, and she said my daughter's name, and I had never told her.
Ooh,
Had I taken that doll home,
ooh,
the type of curses that would have probably been unleashed in
ooh.
my household. So we don't even know the things that people are doing that opens doors as well,
Wow,
unexpectedly.
wow,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. It's dangerous out here, I'm telling you.
Yeah, it is, and it's funny you said it because it's getting worse. It's like
Mm-hmm.
the demonic activity is so high now, and I'm
Yep.
glad you mentioned those numbers. I think you
Mm-hmm.
said in 2008 it was like 300 something thousand, and now it's like 1.5 million people
1.5 million people practicing
practicing
witchcraft.
witchcraft.
Yeah,
Like
and it's
it's
probably gone up since then because that was in
yeah.
2019.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know it's gone up now.
Yeah. Yeah.
With everything that's happening now, they're making it look like it's fun, it's okay, it's harmless.
Right. Right.
I remember we were growing because I was raised in Cleveland,
Mm-hmm.
and we found a Ouija board in the garbage can,
Mm.
and we heard about it but didn't really know about it.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother, she was a praying somebody. She sat at Jesus' feet every day. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know. And so we brought the thing in the house. Of course, she wasn't home. We brought it in the house and we played. We played around with it. When that
Wow.
thing moved by itself,
Yeah. Yeah.
whoo,
Yeah. That lets you know they're around you at all times.
yes,
All you have to do is open the door for them and give them permission.
yep,
And then they have legal right.
legal right that we give to them. We took
Yes.
that thing and threw it in the garbage. That was
Mm-hmm.
it, you know. But it's the thing with, because you talked about legal right, there are
Mm-hmm.
so many churches where the enemy's operating in because they've been given legal right to operate like that
Mm-hmm.
from the head. They've
Right.
opened up the door and allowed them to operate like that.
Right.
So
But God's been showing me a lot in reference to um churches and priests and false prophets, and
Mm,
that there is going to be some serious judgment that's
come
coming to
on.
the people. There is some serious judgment coming to the people who are supposed to be, who are responsible for the flock, that are leading them astray by not giving them the truth.
Mm,
So that's why so many people like me, who are not pastors, who don't have, um, degrees, don't know theology, who are the ones that are being raised up to have these experiences and tell the truth, because the church
right.
is not.
Yeah, they're not. They're not.
Right,
They're not doing it. You know.
right.
We our church operates in the ministry of deliverance, and
Mm-hmm.
I know a whole lot of churches that do not.
Right,
Even when I was coming up one time in the ministry, they was like, "Oh, we don't cast demons out in here. We don't do
right.
that." And I was like, "Okay, all right,
And that's what Jesus did. He
right,
he he cast out demons. So how can you not carry on what he did? I
right,
mean, it's because they don't believe demons exist. They
right,
are very real. There are
right,
so many names. And that's why I advise that people get these books. Books like
okay,
this teach you about deliverance and spiritual warfare,
right,
because this book calls them by name.
right,
Okay. It calls them by name, so that if you are dealing with certain spirits like Leviathan or incubus and succubus, which are
mm,
sexual spirits that so many people have,
yeah, they've been to
even
my
people
house
who are
before,
married.
yeah,
Yeah. If you're having sexual thoughts or sexual dreams or anything related to lust, those are the spirits' names behind that lust.
wow, mm,
So how are you going to cast them down if you don't even know who you're talking to?
who you talking to? Mm,
Yeah.
mm. Put
So
put that book up there so we can see the name of it again.
yeah, this one is Prayers That Rout Demons
Prayers that
by
route.
John.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay. Prayers that route
And
demons.
then the other one is Deliverance and Spiritual Warfare Manual by John Eckhart.
By John Eckhart. Oh, okay,
Hmm.
I gotta go on Amazon. I'm about to get those for some of my people. Um,
And I also share the Bible that I use, because once I went into doing ministry, well, even before I started ministry, he led me to get this Bible. And this Bible is so prophetic, because the moment I opened it and brought it home, this is the page it opened up to, where it says it's labeled. I don't know if you can see it. It's labeled witchcraft. Can you see that?
wow. Yeah, see that.
There's a whole page, and that's the first page that I opened up to after coming out of those practices. And he led me to
Uh-huh.
get this Bible. It opened directly up to this page.
What's the name of that
So
Bible?
uh,
I want it
it's
all.
this Bible is the Women's Study Bible,
Okay.
and it is by what is his name? Because I've had a lot of people. I even bought this Bible and gave it away as a gift to one of my subscribers. It's by Thomas Nelson.
Okay.
Yeah, Women's Study Bible by Thomas Nelson. So it
Okay.
breaks down everything. There's a page like this full that talks about the occult. There's a page on here that talks about witchcraft. I mean, it goes in depth. And it wasn't
Wow.
coincidental that I got a book that broke down the things I needed to teach
Wow.
on.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
yeah,
Man, that's incredible. True fam, for those of y'all that on that, how much was that Bible? You know, about
it
how much was
was it was about $50. No,
about 50.
yeah, it was about $50.
Okay. So
Hmm.
I'm gonna get three of those Bibles. It's the Bible for them. I'm gonna get three of them for those that are on for True Fam. So if you want it, you better claim it right now. All right. And I'm gonna look those books up too on Amazon because um we are forming a actual spiritual warfare unit in the
Hmm.
ministry. We've been digging into it, but we're getting ready to go deeper into it. Um,
Okay.
to learn more, experience more different things like that. So
Hmm. Hmm.
somebody has to. I'm not going to keep you long because I know you got kids in the house.
Hmm.
But somebody has a question that says, "Do demons have legal right to our mind, body in terms of generational curses?"
Absolutely.
What is generational curses?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah. That is one of the main ways that the generation that the demons come in through generational curses are typically
Mm,
through the sins of the father.
mm.
So that gets passed down. And even though you may not see demons manifesting, it will come in multiple ways. And it affects your mind. And then the things that you have going on in your mind is what causes the turmoil in the physical. So absolutely, that is like one of the main ways that it comes is through generational curses.
Okay.
So you just imagine if your mom or dad tapped into anything similar to this, or even if they didn't tap into this, if they were molested, if they were raped or anything like that, that is still demonic, and it gets passed down. And that's why you see somebody else who ends up having the same issue. They end up molesting somebody else because their daddy
Right.
molested them. That is a spirit that transfers.
Mm, mm.
So yeah, absolutely.
Jesus. And so that was the first part. The other part of the question is how do people know if they are cursed? If they feel their life is blessed? That's a good question.
Hmm.
Oh, that's a good question.
If
Oh.
you feel if you feel that your life is blessed because of material things,
Mm.
then that's just a smoke screen. That is not what makes you blessed at all.
Woo.
If you are blessed materially, but you are depressed, you have issues of unforgiveness, you're angry, you have intense sexual desires, you watch pornography, you have any of these things, these are things that can be cast out through deliverance. So, regardless of whether or not you think you're blessed, if you're dealing with any internal um,
Mhm.
oppression, you're dealing with demons.
Right, right, right.
I mean, I've and there are some people that I study and that I follow. I don't know if you're familiar with Ramirez,
I feel like he
John
my uncle.
Ramirez. Yeah,
I feel like he my
yeah,
uncle. I'm telling. I look
yeah.
at his stuff. His video. I did a whole session with the young people on his
Hmm.
video to study him. It's
You need
incredible.
to watch Isaiah Salvador as well.
Isaiah
Isaiah
Salvador.
Salvador.
Okay, okay.
He is on YouTube and he will teach you everything in reference to determining whether or not you have a demon,
Wow.
determining how to cast it out, teaches you about familiar spirits. All of these things is what his ministry is about.
Okay.
He even has videos where he is casting out the
Mm,
spirits from these
mm,
people. And it's very real. I mean, people who actually had spirits that spoke back to him that did not want to leave because they had been there for 30 years. And it was just a spirit of depression. You think just
wow.
because you're depressed that it's not, but these demons were speaking back to him just because she was depressed. And you would think that that was just, a medical thing that she needed some
Right.
medicine. No, she had demons. So,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow. That's powerful. Yeah, you got to
yeah,
watch out for those things. And you talk about that spirit of depression. I know it's
yeah,
real. It had me
yeah,
for a while,
yeah,
and I was a functioning depressionist.
yeah.
A lot of people didn't know I was preaching, doing praise and worship,
Mm-hmm.
singing,
Mm-hmm.
traveling. I was having a good old time, but I was deeply depressed.
But the
My
devil still
self
had your
esteem was
mind.
horrible,
Yeah.
and I was. But it's crazy because it came. The door opened through hurt, through
Mm-hmm.
loneliness.
Mm-hmm.
It opened, and once that door opened, it was like it was hard for me to get rid of that thing.
Yeah.
It took
Yeah.
it took
Yeah.
years to snap out of
Yeah.
it. And it's crazy because every once in a while it feels like it wants to come back, and that's how I know that it's spiritual because I don't have
Yeah.
anything to be depressed about.
Right. Right. Well,
This
that
this the
that
reason.
also that will also let you know that it's not gone.
Mm,
The only thing is that it's being suppressed because you
mm,
are keeping the word and you're keeping Christ at the forefront,
yes.
but
Yeah.
it's still suppressed, which means you might still need to be delivered from it. It's not gone. Same thing with my ear ringing.
Wow.
It's not coming up in within my actions because I keep praise music. I'm
Right.
always reading the
Right.
word. I'm always, so but I can tell that it tries to manifest whenever I watch something that is trying to cast it out. I literally feel like I'm going to faint, and I feel the buzzing. So I
Wow.
know that there is certain things I still have to get delivered from.
But this
Yeah.
was crazy. The guy was telling you about Wayne T. Richards. What he said was, and what he said is, it made so much sense. And I'm gonna let you go, I promise, because I'm a
Oh.
pastor. I can talk all day. But it made so much sense what he said. He said, look at it like this: as Christians, right? You have this big building, right? Your body is this
Mhm.
big building, but apartment building. You only
Mhm.
occupy one room of it. It's
Mhm.
it's the same thing as the enemy kind of occupying a space in you,
Right.
where you need to get delivered from. You're not
Mhm.
possessed, but he occupies a certain space,
Right. Right.
and you have to kick him out. You got to evict
Right.
him out of that particular
Right.
space.
People
And
think
like
that
you
it's
said,
possession, but that doesn't
right,
mean you're possessed where
right,
they are taking over you to
right,
have a demon. You don't have to be possessed to have a
right.
demon. Yeah.
Wow. Somebody,
Yeah.
and this is the last question, I promise, but this is my friend.
Okay.
He's a pastor. He needs to know.
Okay.
He said, "Can you explain the ear ringing?"
So it seems, or it sounds like a high pitched frequency, like a buzzing almost. It started very, very low, and then it got louder and louder and louder. Um, when I would go in places where I knew that there may be something spiritual going on, it would be extremely loud. Now that I am doing what I'm doing, it doesn't get loud anymore. It's very, very faint, but it's still there. When I was going through the deliverance and they were angry, I could feel it digging in my ear, the same ear that the ringing was in. So that's how I know it's in there, because it was literally digging.
You
So,
wow, okay. Because you talked about buzzing, right? It's like
hmm,
like almost
hmm.
like a bee go past your ear.
Not
Is
like
it
that kind of,
something?
but it's kind of hard. You know how that frequency sound that you
Yes,
used to hear with the old televisions used to get
yes,
turned on?
yes.
A continuous of that,
Oh,
just all the time,
yeah, yeah.
and it would
So
come and go.
wow, because I experienced that. I experienced that sometime during certain times,
Mhm.
depending on what's going on, and I'll turn. I'm like, what is that?
Mhm.
It hits me sometime. Even the ringing
Mhm.
has
Mhm.
hit me. Sometime the high pitch. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I got excellent hearing. I said, where's this coming from? Just all of a sudden, it'll come from someplace. And so, um, the buzzing, that type of buzzing thing, I felt like it was spirits.
Yeah.
That's what I before I really knew what it was. That's what I felt like it was. I was like, something's up with this,
Mhm.
because it seemed like they came at a point of distraction. I mean, I could
Yeah.
be in the church all by myself. I'll walk in, I'll sit my stuff down, and I'll sit in the chair. I'm by myself now, and
Mhm.
I would hear it twice, like that, like almost like they're trying
Like
to
something went
distract.
past you.
Like it's like
Okay.
it's like something went past me, but I feel like a buzzing, like in my ear, like you said, like a frequency.
Mhm.
When you turn the station and it's not
Right.
all the way on it, that's what it would
Yeah.
feel like.
Mhm.
And somebody was talking to me about it, and I couldn't really explain what it was. Mine is like that, but it happens, as bishops say, but during certain times, not a buzz, but a ringing. Okay.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
more like a ringing.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like a phone ring or anything like that,
Right.
but
No.
it
Right.
is like a frequency that it's in your ear, and it
Yeah.
starts low, and then it gets a little bit louder and a little bit
Yeah.
louder. So yeah, um, it. I've been dealing with that for
Okay.
over a year.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it's just a sign basically of demonic activity
any
going
kind
on.
of spiritual
Any kind of
activity.
spiritual
But
activity.
I
Okay.
relate it to demonic activity because it didn't come on me until I opened those doors.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Okay, so it could be okay. I see what you're saying, or you just could be. Um, could it be a thing of you just? What's the word I want to use? You're just kind of open to expect to hearing it, and with that as a way that you know that something is there.
Well, because I was at that time raising again the whole energy
Uh-huh.
thing, raising my frequency,
Uh-huh.
I
Okay.
then was able to connect with them on the same frequency or certain level. We're not
Wow.
meant to, our energy is not meant to go higher than a certain level.
Right. Right.
And that's why we end up coming in contact with the spiritual, because we're supposed to be here. We're not, almost kind of like how the atmosphere is. We're not supposed to go past a certain level of the earth, between earth and space.
Right.
It's the
Right.
same thing with our levels in our bodies, because if we do, then
Wow.
we have there's certain things that have access to you.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay. I was going to ask you another question, but I'm not going to. What
go
was it?
ahead.
I can't remember what it was anyway. Dang, it's terrible when you start getting, jeez, up in age. Um,
No, it's just you got so much going on in your
is
head.
that
You're
what?
trying
That's what
to
it. Yeah, that's probably what it
you're
is.
trying to remember everything that you want to
Right,
ask.
right. Remember everything. Um, but I'm glad you touched on that because I talk with a lot of people that do experience that ringing and that
Hmm.
buzzing type thing in
Now,
their
the older you
ear.
get, it could be tinnitus. That's why it's
Right,
good that you go and get your ears checked to rule that out.
right.
So, that is a thing.
And that's what I thought, and that's why of course I went on in Google. You gotta be careful with Google because Google said,
Yeah.
"Oh, you got a tumor in your ear," but but I went on Google and I was reading about it, trying to figure out maybe this is it right here. But then I had to step back and look at the times when it was happening. I
Right.
mean, if I'm coming off of a fast, if I've been exposed to heavy spiritual warfare, if I was
Hmm.
attacked at night or something like that,
Hmm.
then the next day I experience these particular things. If I feel like the
Hmm.
enemy's coming at me, like I told you, if I have nothing to be depressed about and I wake
Hmm.
up depressed,
Hmm.
I'm like,
Hmm.
this is the spirit right here.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
sometime on Saturday night into Sunday morning, I'm
Hmm.
heavy, and I could feel a heaviness over me, and I was like, the
Do you
enemy's
watch the
trying to do
news?
this, huh?
Do you watch the news? Do you sit in front of CNN?
Oh Lord Jesus! I mean,
Y'all better stop watching the stuff. Y'all better stop watching that stuff. I'm
sometimes I
telling you.
do. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It just depends. But I don't watch it late at night like that. Sometime during the day, but I will feel something when I get to church.
Hmm.
I can feel like the atmosphere, almost like the enemy saying, "I'm gonna come here. I'm gonna try to disrupt." Cause
Right.
and when he does that, I know that this is going to be an anointed service because he
Hmm.
has to show up to stop some stuff. I just
Right.
and it happens like every single time. So I think for me, it's having my ear open and recognizing when the enemy
Hmm.
is getting ready to
Hmm.
come in and try to do something, when he
Hmm.
wants to disrupt,
Right.
those
Right.
particular things. Um,
Yeah.
okay, somebody said, is there anything wrong with burning candles? I burn scented candles to freshen the room, especially after cooking greens.
Now, y- it's okay to burn candles for the sake of scents. Just make sure that, because they're like, candles are a tool that witches use. There are different color candles that people sell that have herbs in them, and they all are for a purpose.
Mm, mm,
So there's a green candle that's for to draw money to you. Of course, law of attraction is the devil.
mm,
Um, there's a red candle, black candle, white candles. They're all for witchcraft.
mm.
But again, if you're burning the candle and you're just burning the candle for the sake of smell, it's fine.
Right.
But hopefully you're not burning a candle for the intent of drawing something into your life or stopping something. Again, that's idolatry.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Um,
Yeah.
there I go again with my mind. Um, I was I used to watch something and television engulfs you, especially when I'm an actor too. So I just
Hmm.
love watching, you know what I'm saying? I need prayer. Pray my strength in the
I
Lord.
I come from that world. My mother is an agent, so trust me.
Ah, there it is.
Yeah.
So I used to watch this series called Supernatural.
Mm.
So I'm watching it. I'm watching. And then I started realizing something. I started realizing that they were using witchcraft to fight witchcraft.
Mm-hmm.
And I said,
Mm-hmm.
wait a minute. I said, this does not make sense to me
Exactly.
at all. I
You're
said,
you're you're using the dark. You're using false light to fight against itself.
right. And that's how they get you. So it's almost like they
Yeah.
were saying, if you want to fight a demon, we need you to, what is that thing with, it's called the hexagon?
The
The circle with the
oh, is it the pentagram
the
or the
pentagram, yeah.
yeah.
So if you want to fight demons, draw a pentagram on your floor to capture the demons. That's what was happening on Supernatural to get you to
Yeah.
do this. You
All it's
know,
doing is teaching you how to do witchcraft. Teaching you how it's reverse psychology.
right,
You think that you're fighting against it, but you're actually joining in agreement with it. So yeah, that's why one thing you have to be careful with what you watch, and that's why they say be careful with what you watch and what you listen to, because
right.
I have fallen asleep even before all of this stuff happened to me. I have fallen asleep with American Horror Story playing
My God,
and woke up to someone that was experiencing like an exorcism type situation. There was a spirit in my house just because I played that in my house. And I had to, it took several days, at least a week, of me anointing the house and praying. I had to sleep with my light on because I let that spirit. It was literally that television is a portal. If
right,
you watch certain things and you wonder why your children are dealing with, sexual thoughts and pornography, or you wonder why all of a sudden out of nowhere you're arguing with your spouse
mm.
because of the things you let into the house.
Into the house, the portals, the door opening.
Yeah.
Wow, man, this has been
Yeah.
really really good. I really appreciate you. Somebody talking about
Yeah.
part two. this is this has been really good. I appreciate
I'm
you
actually
coming to us.
starting a business. I'm actually starting
Uh,
a product line. I'm not going to say
okay,
what it is yet, but
okay.
it's based on my story. So I would love to come back and share it once I launch.
Oh, please, yeah. Just
Yeah.
let me know.
Yeah.
Love to have you come back on and share that. Could talk some more, about different things. But like you
Hmm.
said, this is not. People are not talking about this stuff enough
Right.
out here, and this the energy and ancestor is on the rise so much, and I hear so
Hmm.
much in the church, and we got to be educated on it.
Right.
you know
Right. We
so
do.
all of those who are on the line, I need you to please share this to your page. Share it to your page. Push it to as many people as you can get it to. They need to be educated on why these things are wrong, because a lot of times we do things out of ignorance, but just
Right.
because you do them out of ignorance doesn't mean that you don't open up a door. You still
Exactly.
open up that door.
Right.
I went out
Right.
to New Orleans one year. I had never been before to a church convention, and on every street corner, like 7-Elevens, they had like these voodoo dolls, like they were
Mm.
just toys. you know
Mm.
and if you're not educated on, you just go in there, like you said, you'll buy one and
Well,
just
see, even the real witches who've been practicing this for decades, the real Wiccans who have been witches for as long as they can remember, are upset that what they practice is being pushed out to people who are unknowledgeable of the doors that they're opening,
wow,
because they are basically opening Pandora's box to their life, and they have no clue what they're doing. Even though the
right,
Wiccans are still practicing witchcraft, they still have an art of how they do it to keep certain things from coming in. But
right,
this is being put out to mainstream, where your teenage child can go and do it, and you have no clue that you got demons walking around in your house because it's being sold where she bought her clothes. So, it's, yeah. If you don't know what's going on and you don't know how to fight against it, that's one thing I can say is that my parents, that was the worst feeling for them, to see me going through every single day crying because, and they can't figure out how to help me.
right.
My
Wow.
father, you can't shoot something you can't see.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? So they were
Jesus.
calling and calling churches, and there was nobody that could help me.
Wow.
So that is the problem. the churches don't know how to deal with spiritual warfare and to
Wow.
help.
Right.
So that's why we got to get this out there so that more people can be
Right.
helped once they realize it.
Wow. That's the
Yeah.
truth. Someone asked, does the guest speaker have information that we can follow? Are you looking at this online? Can you see the comments?
No, I can't.
Not- Okay. How can they reach you? I know they can reach you on YouTube.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, they can reach me on YouTube and on my YouTube videos. In the description, there is my email and all that stuff.
okay. And when they go to YouTube, they just pull up your name.
You can go to youtube.com/ my first and last name, which is Naja, Naja
Okay.
Alston. Hmm. Alston. And
Okay.
that's the first thing that will pop up is my testimony. What I have in most of all the videos in the description is my email address. And it's the name of my channel is the Cloud and the Fire Ministry.
Okay.
So that's the email address, the Cloud and the Fire Ministry at
Okay.
Gmail.
I'm putting that in there. Cloud and the fire. I know that's right. These people deliver. What's your cash app?
It is my first and last name, the $, and then Naja Alston.
AL Alston.
Hmm.
Austin. Okay. You can send her something if you want to be a blessing to her. She got them grown kids in the house they need to eat. But thank you, thank you.
They're a big help.
Yeah, and that's awesome, and that's
Hmm.
awesome. And how are they? Are they? Do they understand the things that you have experienced? And
Yes, they went through every part of it.
woo,
My my daughter even was, she even experienced demonic dreams and attacks because she was in the room sleeping with me.
wow,
So yeah, they saw me go through the whole process. They used to see
wow,
me doing the tarot. I used to sage my kids, all of it. Yeah.
man,
So, but they are able to now see it and know what it is.
come on,
So my son bought some basketball shoes. I don't even know the name of this guy, but he has the all-seeing eye on all of his shoes. And so my son looked it up and saw what it was and brought it to my attention, and we took him back, and he was okay with it.
God, I wonder who
So,
was that. Now I know about. You better help me ask your question, Erica. Someone has a quick question for a few comments up. Did I miss a question? Put it back in again. You hear about the guy, the Lil Nas, right, and his little
mm-hmm,
shoe
mm-hmm,
and all that type of stuff.
mm-hmm,
So that's
mm-hmm.
that's that's huge right now.
Yeah,
That was some of the worst
yeah.
stuff I've ever seen. I think,
And
and
if you
just
see the comments, they are in
uh,
agreement with it.
yes, they're
Yeah.
in agreement with it. They
Mm-hmm.
embrace it. It's like
Yeah.
I think his video is just creative, and I don't see
Right.
anything wrong with it. He's just being himself, and I'm like, yo, y'all don't see this stuff,
Exactly. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But the all-seeing eye is
Mm-hmm.
everywhere,
It is everywhere.
and
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna let you go. My church gonna teach me. You got 5 closings, right? But listen, um, me and my kids. I was looking at the dollar bill one day. And I was like, why is there a pyramid on our back of our dollar bill? Why does it have
Mm-hmm.
these Latin words? So I was like, we're in America. What is this for? That's what
Mm-hmm.
sent me down the road of discovery. I was up
Yeah.
to 3 o'clock at night, me and my daughters up to 3 o'clock at night, looking at all this stuff, and everything started
Mm-hmm.
making sense to me. And so
Mm-hmm.
then when I started looking at movies, because I was a big, Lord of the Rings guy,
Mm-hmm.
and the all-seeing eye. Now the
Mm-hmm.
all-seeing eye and the pyramid is like on everything.
Everything.
I even
Everything.
seen it in Tom and Jerry cartoons.
Yeah.
It's
They're even
on,
putting it on artifacts on at
yes,
TJ Maxx and Marshalls on the cups and the mugs, and it's everywhere. Yeah.
everywhere. And so I don't know. I got to find out whose tennis shoe, who put it
If
on
you
their
look
tennis
up
shoe.
Yeah, I don't remember his name,
Uh-huh.
but if you just look up basketball player, shoes with all seeing eye, it'll pop up.
It'll pop up. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my God, someone had a quick question. Few comments up. Let me make sure I got that question. I want to make sure I got that question before we get up, because I gotta let her go, y'all. She, you know what I'm saying? She been on here, does this. Let me see. Let me make sure. See if I see. Uh Erica, I don't. That's my daughter. Tell me, Erica, I don't see the question. I think we answered all the questions, Erica. Okay. Okay. We answered all. I think we got to all the questions.
And if anybody has any questions,
Yeah.
specific questions, more than welcome. I get emails from people all over the world. So
Okay.
you're more than welcome to email me and I can respond.
Okay. One of my ministers came on and said it's Kyrie Irving shoe. Oh, are
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
serious?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. He
Oh,
he actually has a video on YouTube where he is explaining it, and he has it on like at least three or different places on one shoe. It's not like it's on the bottom, it's on the top, it's on the tongue, it's on the inside.
are you
So
serious?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. Kyrie Irving. Well, he a little edgy anyway. He got anger issues to
Hmm.
me. What has she canceled? Okay. Okay, this was the question. I didn't see it. The question was, has she cast out demons? And what was the experience?
I have not done that yet, but I know that's my calling.
Oh yeah, get ready.
So I listen, I'm not afraid, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is what I feel like God is pushing me towards. So I'm learning a lot more about that aspect.
Right.
Um, and I need to get with the right, group of people that, for support.
And that's good that you're getting the knowledge before you, because some people
Hmm.
don't do that. And they
Right.
are jacked up because of what they tried to
Right.
cast out.
Now
I've
they
seen
won't they typically if you're casting out a demon, it's not like it's gonna jump off of them and onto you
hmm
because it's not an exorcism.
hmm
So it's a little bit different, especially if you're somebody that you're covered in the blood of Jesus. It's not
right.
gonna just jump in, it can't jump into you.
You just
Yeah.
don't know what you're doing.
Yeah. It just won't leave. You won't be able
Right.
to get it out of that person if you don't know
Right.
what you're doing. Yeah.
They were like, I ain't going nowhere. You ain't got no
Yeah.
power. You don't know.
Exactly. And they
You're not
will
even calling
speak
the
to
right
you.
name, right?
Right.
Right. So the knowledge piece of it is good, but that's good that you're diving into. I think a lot of people don't know that you were in this practice for like what, 6 months?
Yeah, it wasn't a
Yeah,
long time.
wasn't a long time, but you went deep
Yeah.
into it for
I
six
went
months.
super deep into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a lot of times because of that, God takes you right into that, because some of the things I didn't experience, I didn't operate in witchcraft coming up,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
um, but I did live in an apartment that was infested with spirits where they called your name. Where I
Wow.
was on the couch watching TV, and a woman floated down my hallway with her hands out like
Really?
this and said that I'm gonna kill you. Yeah, and I couldn't like move.
Wow.
I watched them swoop over my bed, stand inside my doorway. Little short one stand inside my doorway. They would wake my kids up at like 3 o'clock every night. They would wake up crying.
Really?
And one day I went to church, and the lady at the church said, God said, get the idols out of your house. And I was like, I got no idols in my house. I ain't been nowhere. I know what the commandments say, right?
Wow.
And I said, well, how will I know? They said, when you walk in that door, God's going to show you. When I walked in the door, I could see the silhouettes of the shadows of the demons, like moving in and out of pictures that I had on
Mm.
the wall, certain statues that I had. I had these three porcelain clowns that I was in love with. They used to sit on the back of my door. You know, I always felt something about them when I saw them, but I was like, these things
Mhm.
expensive. I ain't throwing these in the garbage.
Right, right.
I got rid of so much stuff to the point where I changed my furniture out of the house because of how much my people sending me pictures of the tennis shoes. Y'all own it, True Fam. Y'all own it. Yeah. And so it was so infested. And so the day I was moving out of the apartment, there was a guy in it. This is my sixth closer to him. I'll let you go. A man said, he said, because my entire apartment building, it was always fighting and arguing. All the couples fought. It was horrible. And so he said, underneath my apartment was another room that they had sealed off. He said the drug dealers used to break in that room and used to commit murders down in that little room. He also said it was
Wow.
demonic rituals. And one of the things that was on the wall was the pentagram was on
Uh-huh.
the wall underneath my apartment. So my apartment was a haven
For
for,
those.
yeah,
Wow.
so,
Wow.
and I asked God, I was like, why did I have to go through a year of experience all these particular things? And he
But that
spoke
was
to
a
me.
part of what you had to deal with in order to be in spiritual warfare ministry.
There
You
you
had to.
go. There
Yeah.
you go. You must have been
Yeah.
in my spiritual room. He was like, it's for ministry. I had to, I
Yeah.
allowed you to taste this for the sake of
Mm-hmm.
ministry so that you will not be afraid when it came
Exactly.
time for you to cast out a demon. And
Oh, he
and
tried to
I'm,
do some
yeah,
stuff like that. He tried to
yeah.
do some supernatural
Mhm.
things to warn me before I went into it, and I didn't listen.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't
Wow.
listen. Yeah,
Wow.
I actually thought it was the devil showing me those things in
Jeez.
order to keep me from getting, but it was the complete opposite. So yeah,
Jeez.
yeah.
What? God is good. But I'm
He
glad.
is.
My pastor friend talking about six and counting. I'm about to close now, Neil. It's funny. Um, but thank you. I appreciate you taking your time out to
Yes.
educate us and to help us. And please, when you launch what you're gonna launch, please um uh get back with me. Hit me
Mm-hmm.
up to let me know so that I can get you back on the show so that we can
Okay.
launch that. Um so we can help, get this word out some more because the people need to
Yes.
hear it. And
Yes.
are you on Clubhouse?
No.
You're not on Clubhouse. Okay. If you ever get on Clubhouse, let me know. Um,
What
some
is
people.
Clubhouse? I don't
Oh,
even know what
club.
that
You
is.
don't know? Okay. It's a social media thing, but it's not video. It's download it on your phone. It's only on Apple products, basically iOS
Okay.
products, and they have rooms where you discuss certain things, and that's where I met the guy named Wayne T. Jackson on Clubhouse. He has a ministry on YouTube called Deliverance Chronicles. It's called Deliverance
Mm.
Chronicles. Go and pull it up. He has like almost over 100 videos on spiritual warfare, the different groupings, and all that type of things. Is powerful. He's a powerful young
Okay.
man, and I think
Okay.
I think it will really interest you as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, but I met him on Clubhouse because Clubhouse has some of these rooms. Like any other thing, though, you have 8 billion prophetic
Mm-hmm.
gypsies on Clubhouse, so you got
Mm-hmm.
to be careful with
Mm-hmm.
that, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But
But definitely check out Isaiah Salvador. You
I
will love
am,
his
I am.
teaching. Yeah.
You tell me I'm
I'll
doing it.
send it to you.
Yes, please do. Yep. So thank
Yeah.
you so much. Like,
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. I
okay,
enjoyed it.
and if y'all enjoyed her, if you learned some things, can we get a seventh? Be quiet. If you enjoyed her, send Cash App her something. Be a blessing to her, because a lot of times people got to pay for this type of knowledge. But she came onto the show, so we appreciate you. So thank you so much,
Yeah, I
Naja. Go get you
appreciate you.
something to eat so you can nourish your body. Because I'm gonna go get me a salad. Hopefully, I'm gonna
Yes,
fight to
yes.
get one anyway. All right.
I appreciate you guys and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. All right. God bless. Thank y'all for
All
tuning
right.
in. Until next time.
It's time for you to wake up.